And with that, we are live on the internet. It's us. We are here. We have returned. It has been quite a while. Welcome back, my friends. Thank you for joining me tonight. I timed it just to get it while Troy's eating dinner. No shade. But we got a little giggly, and I was like, this is good. This is good. Let's get everybody.
It's not like I didn't know I was playing D&D tonight. It's not like I didn't, I'm just a bad adult. I'm a bad human. I did not cook food to be ready. I wanted chicken nuggets because I'm 7.
You keep using this word adult, and I like it.
You don't like it.
I hate it.
said adult too many times. I just want to stipulate. You may be a bad adult, but you're definitely not a bad human. These things are not.
Yeah, also, I had hot dogs for dinner. So hot dogs, chicken nuggets, sandwiches. We're all
Rich had sandwiches. We're just doing the simplest of foods possible here.
I'm calling it a sandwich, but really it was just scrambled eggs on a ciabatta roll. My groceries were running thin. It was good. It was good. Yeah.
Egg sandwiches are top tier.
I love scrambled eggs. I'm an enormous fan of eggs. My years as a bachelor moving into this place alone taught me the value of eggs.
Okay, so we're going to part the curtain a little bit here, and we're going to say, so we record using a piece of software, a website, which Rich will send us a link, and then he'll give us the password so that no one secretly sneaks upon.
Now we know.
Sneaks upon the rocket ship that is the Dragonfly, the spaceship, really, the starship, the sphere ship, even. And he gives us a password. Today's password was eggs.
Ironically, not because I ate them, but it's there's real synergy there. Yeah.
There is, because last time.
Oh, are you using this as a segue into I was going to use this as a segue to say, the first thing I thought was, Rich doesn't know that I'm egg intolerant. This is really interesting. Actually, it's not. But now that you're talking about how much you love eggs, I'm like, I know, I do too. But alas.
The real irony here, though, is that egg intolerant, and meanwhile, the password did not work for you. And I had to set up a new room with a new password, which is not eggs, which is why we're so flagrantly telling you guys what the password is to join our secret call.
The website knew. That the eggs weren't going to work for me.
This is wild,
That's
man.
Amazing. Well, not amazing, but wow, that's quite the wow. My goodness.
Yes, the password was eggs because previously on Dragonfly, you guys went to the Shadow Plane, killed a dragon, and are now returning to the capital of the planet because that's how some planets in Dragonfly work. And you're carrying a bunch of eggs, and I was like, this will be a good reminder to the players of remember. You're carrying giant eggs.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, definitely. That was my first thought when I randomly saw the word eggs written. The password is eggs. Oh, you mean the draconic eggs that we're carrying through the multiverse?
The copper dragon eggs. We killed Raxus last time.
Fun.
You did. You killed Raxus. Green worm transitioned into a shadow dragon, having delved through the portal. It's been quite a while since our last episode, my friends. I came down with the COVID of this newest, meanest, fiercest iteration, and feel like it's July 19th today, and I'm like, my God, I've literally slept through the whole month. I got sick right around the 4th of July, just before that. And I'm still deeply lethargic and a little bit sore and tender, but I just get tired. I'm in old man mode. I'm podcasting about a show called The Old Man, which is great, by the way. But I'm in old man mode where if I sit still for too long without actively playing D&D or doing something, I just fall asleep. I'm like a narcoleptic.
Out. Yeah. Completely out. Yeah.
So I'm glad to have you guys back. Obviously, we have the small crew tonight. Likely, it may be a shorter, tighter show. But yeah, cool. So we're all doing good, huh? Dinner, hot dogs, chicken nuggets, eggs. We're all doing all right. Yeah.
I had grilled cheese and tomato soup last night.
Ooh,
it's really just
classic.
hitting the childhood classics because I don't know how to make anything else.
And you are surrounded by magnificent foodstuffs, your place of employment to an extent. Have I ever explained to you how to make the grilled cheese with the bacon on the outside of the sandwich?
No.
What? Please say more.
Oh, it's so good, Troy. This is a mind blower. Everybody I've ever met like goes wild for this when I do it for them. But this is grandma's old technique. Philomena Riker used to take the bacon.
Wow.
Yeah. If you keep up on the popular monthly series Humble Yore here on Twitch TV/DN Philly, you can meet an iteration of Philomena.
You have to do the voice, Rich. You have to do the voice.
What do you need to do? You take your white bread, you put your cheese right in the middle, and then you take it here, you take a slice of bacon, you slice it right in half, and you take your bacon and you squeeze on the outside of the bread, or one on one side, or one on the other side, and then you make your pan so hot, and then you fry your grilled cheese, and you bacon, it's a stick to the outside of the bread, Troy. And now you give your friend the sandwich you cut in a diagonal, and then you give them a triangle with the bacon on the outside. And they go, oh my God, there's a bacon on the outside of your bread. How you do this?
Thank you, Nona.
That's how Philomena Riker taught me how to make grilled cheese sandwiches with the bacon on the outside. It's really good stuff. It's ridiculously simple. Quality dinner, though, let me say.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Holy moly.
Yeah, it's very funny because my whole family knows my grandmother, obviously, but I do this voice and they're like, good God, like, it's so close. Like, it sounds like a parody. Oh my goodness. It's pretty close.
Fascinating.
Tommy's grandma is here. Hello, Tommy and David. Thank you guys for coming to hang out with us tonight. I hope you're good. Tommy, another good Italian man from New York. I'm sure our grandma is like very close to one another, right? Cool.
Amazing.
So yeah, we're back, and we're here not just to talk about grilled cheese and dinner and adulting, but to play Dungeons and Dragons maybe. But we thought, like, since there's just a few of us, maybe we should catch up and touch down on the story thus far, as we've spent our time here in Lund, the halfling homeworld, for quite a few months. I think we're coming up on like 3 months here, about like 5 episodes, 6 episodes. They've been like stretched out a little bit, but it's been a while since we've been here. And we've engaged with some deep lore. And so I don't know if there's any like questions you guys have off the top of your head, just to like connect the dots and make sure we're like on point of like, what's going on? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm going to ask the questions because I think Taylor has all the answers written down, as does Rich. I'm not trying to blow up your spot, Taylor. I just think you are our lore extraordinaire.
I have this notebook, so I feel like I have a lot of stuff in this notebook that might answer it, but I'm going to let Taylor go first.
So okay, so this is, just for those people who maybe missed the last episode of Dragonfly, we fought a dragon. I mean, do we call it? I guess we got to call it dragon.
Oh, it absolutely was. Yeah.
Who did we fight and kill, and what did we find there? Well, and I asked this right as soon as Taylor puts food in her mouth.
Put a blueberry in my mouth. So yeah, we killed Raxus, who was a green dragon, which notably we were on the back of a copper dragon called Brightwing while doing so, which was really badass. And flew through a portal to the shadow plane and followed him through. We fought him. Through this fight, he was yelling things like the synod cannot be allowed to regain their footing, things along this line, and him saying that like they must continue their plan to all of the little draconians that were helping him.
There were minions there for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When we so we like landed, there was this lair situation, and within the lair there were many stolen and seemingly
corrupted
corrupted and dormant like copper dragon eggs. And Naya killed the dragon with their sword of dragon slaying, which speaks, which is dope. And we defeated the draconians. A couple of us grabbed eggs, a couple of us grabbed treasure. One of us in particular grabbed so much treasure. And yeah, we hightailed it out of there. Yeah. But that was kind of the gist of what was going on there.
Does that all track? You met Rosemita Amberhand, played by the stellar Jess Sterling, who joined you for your foray into the Shadow Plane, where you did, in fact, kill a dragon. Yeah.
Reggie's #1 fan, Rosemita.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And in the moments as you were frantically seeking to flee, gathering up eggs, this copper dragon Brightwing, the brother of the Bright Wolf, Pernaladrine, the Riddler there, Reginald summoned a whole bunch of little shadow methods that proceeded to grab up piles and piles of treasure for you guys to flee with. Yeah.
And this is the point where I fully confess, out of character here, it's been long enough since we played that I remember at the time having a very specific reason that I did that. And I've completely since forgotten what that reason is. I'm gonna have to get back in the character, back in the space, unless you want to remind me what
Well, I can't be certain what your motivations were, but I do know that we had played a double header last time we played. We played on Monday and on Tuesday night. And on the Monday night, you guys having come to the home world of the halflings, to Lund. This place on landing here, you met Ginny, the little historian, archaeologist out in the woods. She showed you the ruins of Velistrastrand's shrine. Velistrastrand, this ancient copper dragon, supposedly the kind of first to come to this world. And she told you there was this whole rumor about how gnomes built the cities here, and then they vanished, and nobody's really sure why, and the dragon eggs kind of stopped hatching. You ended up freeing the fairy dragon Zeus, Jake and Reya. On a side jaunt, they found the great turtle, Kurochan. Jake taking the sword from his back, the turtle waking up, having then all of you rallied there. You moved to the capital, to Copperport, this kind of gleaming bastion of a copper city, copper pillars and ornamentation, copper roofs. It's more kind of copper than you've ever seen in one place before. And on coming here, you ended up going to an auction. The first of the 2 sessions of the doubleheader, you went to this very fascinating auction to meet with some of the halfling leadership to let them know, hey, we think that a portal to the Shadow Plane opened and a bunch of dragon creatures came pouring out of it. And we found this big giant turtle the size of a small hill who we think moved your planet. And so what's up? What's going on here? And they were like, well, obviously we must meet at the auction house to discuss this, which was a little strange, but hey, halflings are weird. But at the auction, our friend Naya definitely spent all your money. So that might have been the motivation. I don't know if it's literally that simple, that you guys were pretty broke. There was a sense of we have so much money, we can buy so much stuff. And then there was a statue of an angel that Naya kind of confirmed. Wait a minute, I think this is a real angel entombed in stone. I think we need to buy it, which you did for 3,250 gold, Taylor?
Yes. Which is also kind of hilarious because of course there were actual living creatures that were a part of the auction. But hey,
there were a few.
We have a statue and it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I think that Reggie, I don't know, I think because most of us in the party were grabbing dragon eggs.
Yes.
And yeah, Roz specifically was she picked up so much gold in her little jacket of many pockets.
Reggie specifically requested the smoke methods to grab the shiny things, to grab the gems.
Oh. Yep. Yes, you did.
Yes, I was very explicit about that, and that all had to do with what my plan was, which will definitely come to me when I will revisit the character. It was definitely not spell components, I could tell you that much. But there's a plan.
You did also tell the methods to grab Rosemita Amberhand and not leave her behind. There was that. It wasn't it was a total mercenary maneuver. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. That was part of the plan. The other part of the plan will be revealed to us all. Welcome to how D&D works.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, those are like, that's the like immediacy of the story, right? As we like pick back up, it was the two of you along with Naya and Rosmita on the back of this dragon, the Brightwing, as you emerged from the shadow portal, having slain Raxus, defeated his minions. The portal was closing, notably, and it was like a frantic, like, do we stay or do we go? And you decided we gotta go. So meanwhile,
because I sensed. Well, I didn't sense, but we know that there's another portal, and that there are ways to get in and out of the Shadowfell for us.
Yes.
But Chronolodrine and like the other like defenders of the city were like going towards that portal when we went through, because that's why we didn't have any help.
Exactly. There was a portal on the far side of the world that had opened, and these kind of shadowy dragonoids, draconians, drakes came pouring out. Not true dragons, but wyverns and all manner of these dragon adjacent kind of entities came pouring out of it. And it was at that point that Kurochan, the great primordial turtle, moved the earth beneath his claws. He moved the world of Lun, transporting you to the capital with haste. As such, Pernaladrine and the other copper worms, the defenders of the city, had taken off to fly to the far side of the world and examine this portal, defend the like outlander kind of communities further away from the capital. Lun, notably, like halflings, a small world. I don't get into like the nitty gritty details of a lot of this stuff, because like we can get lost in the minutia of it, but it's smaller than a lot of other planets might be, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other like big major questions in terms of like the lore of it all, right? Yeah.
Have we talked about a Ferris? So we originally came to this planet in pursuit of a wizard, a sorcerer, a mage named Ferris the Wise, whom we've communicated with. The Wizened. Sorry.
The Wizened.
I can tell by the reaction.
Self-named the Wizened.
Oh, how dare you. How dare one.
Dare you.
Wow. Yes, Ferris the Wizened. We have let him know that we're coming. I don't think that we've met a Ferris yet. And there's the Sleeping Sage as well. So we got a lot of smart people here in Lund. It's gonna be fun to unpack this.
Indeed, and possibly Redalia, the Bard of the Blossoms.
One of the Bards of the Blossoms. The Bards of the Blossoms, notably, like these three titles of the Elven Kingdom, the kind of kingdom of snapdragons, as it were, who are refugees that were sort of driven across the stars in like ancient history, and they found a refuge here with the halflings on the world of Lund, right? Yep.
Got what I need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So dare I say, with Jake and Doc and Reya on the Dragonfly itself, they took off flying from one of the hummingbird ports for the defense of the city as the second portal opened over the great capital, Copperport. Meanwhile, the four of you, Professor Lux, Naya, and new friend Rosmita Amberhand, had leapt onto the back of Brightwing, of the Pernaladrine's younger brother, flying like an arrow through the shadowy portal in the sky over the glimmering city of rose and green-colored copper reflecting in the shadowed sun. You battled a series of kind of entities there, draconians, some of whom turned to stone, others of which exploded when you laid them low. You defeated Raxus, this green dragon transformed by the shadowy plane that he had made his lair in. You gathered up near a dozen eggs between you all. Methods conjured, pulling Rosmita back to the dragon as her dress was weighed down by the copious volume of gold which she had stuffed into her pockets, gems sparkling in the hands of these shadowy minions that surge back to the dragon around you, Professor. as the Brightwing leaps through the dwindling kind of sliver back into the blue skied world of Lun. And so I think as the camera opens today and we see the dragon's swarm, sinuous, trailing down towards the domed, peaked, glimmering city of this oft overlooked metal, I think we get a montage, right, of the dragon sort of landing, halflings rallying around you. There is some celebration in the streets that this onslaught of an attack has been turned away. Still, soldiers rally at defensive points, arming ballista like your dear friend Jake. And I think that as the eggs are kind of gathered up by the Brightwing, he would have offered to you to take them to a place of refuge and safety. And I think that Rosmita Amberhand very likely is like, I'm staying with him. And so the three of you would watch Professor Lux and Naya as this lesser copper dragon lifts into the air, kind of cradling these many eggs in his arms as his wings heave and he flies away. Yes?
You're welcome.
You have the gratitude of all the folk of Lun, not just me, friend.
Oh, that was directed at Rosalita, of course.
Whatever.
Rosmita, Professor.
Well, yes, of course. Look, she appeared to be the type of person who does not need to have their name shouted to the rooftops. So if I could provide some cover for her by a bit of misdirection, perhaps that's best for her.
I don't know. I yell names all the time. So if you're going to choose to tell me your name, you're going to have to assume that I'm going to scream it at some point.
I like to change my name when it seems fitting, says Naya.
That's very true.
Yes. Do you choose? I'll save the deep questions for another time.
That's probably a good plan. I'm a bit distracted. We need to get that angel statue from the auction house.
Immediately? We've just defeated a large serpentine beast in the Shadowfell. How is that? It's the most important thing at the moment.
Yeah, I'm feeling about half as good as I did when we went in there. So I don't know.
Yes, I've been better, but I'm here.
Do you want to go get the statue, Naya? Yeah, please, feel free.
I'm going to go get the statue. I'll send Ben back to you and see about getting it at least situated, find out what's going on there.
Yeah,
Ben?
that's
Yes.
right. Yeah, Ben. Oh gosh, poor thing.
Look,
out.
Lux, I think now is probably an appropriate time, now that the main challenges and threats around us have changed, to being responsible for all of these people is quite a challenge. I worry about Ben when we are not with him.
Oh, yeah, I worry about Ben all the time. Yeah, he's fine. Gosh, he's lived through so much. I mean...
Yes, but he only has to die once. You see, it is a situation where one could have lived through many things. All it takes is one not to live through, and that is quite costly.
Well, I know that, but I mean, we keep him safe, and
yes, of course. I was simply saying that the more people we bring upon the Dragonfly, the more
people we can protect if we keep them close to us.
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Glad we're on the same page about that.
Right. Well, then now that Naya is dealing with our art acquisition, it seems we have a few things to sort out here. What?
I have this seed.
You have I see. Oh, how lovely.
Well,
Remind
I
me,
was
how
just,
much did that cost?
I don't remember.
You don't.
So much has
Was there any
happened.
sort of receipt or documentation?
No, not at all. No, it's a
Oh.
very casual thing. I just kind of, it was really cool. I just like slipped him like
Lux!
some gold, some I don't
Did you
know.
steal that?
No. No, I tried, but it did. I mean, no, I didn't. No, I
Well,
didn't.
Well, I would have thought less of you had you stolen it.
You
But
never stolen
also,
anything?
If I ever stolen anything, well, goodness, no one goes through youth and adolescence without having stolen something. But it is a lesson you learn very quickly in the Wigglebottom household. So
The which? I'm sorry. What?
it is Fry. It is a
Oh,
complicated.
right. You were telling me because you kind of like mushed the names together, right?
Yes. I simply used my father's surname because my mother was typically working. He was the one most responsible for raising me and disciplining me when I stepped out of line.
Gotcha.
Thus, yes, my name, Frybottom, combination of my mother. Yes, we've discussed this. It is. Yes, you do not have a surname. I feel like I should have asked you this at some point.
Nope.
Is this common among your ancestry?
Yeah, I can sort of see how the it's like a thing, like we're all kind of in one place, so and we all just have different first names, so it's not really like we have to like differentiate by like family because we're all like one kind of big situation.
Just sort of mixing up all the time.
Well, not necessarily. Just like, yeah, we don't need last names because like, Doc and me and my parents, and then, and obviously like I was kind of gone all the time, and
Gone. Yes, you're traveling, going about the stars.
Yep. And yeah.
What was? Look, I know we have some big things to figure out here, but the moment it's not escaped me that we had a bit of truth or dare recently, and you revealed some information about yourself, and you appeared, dare I say, quite lonely. And I just simply wondered if, flying about the stars, one would think you would meet all sorts of people. Is that not the case?
Oh gosh, I mean, lonely like that's not. No, not me. I'm not ever lonely. I got all you guys around me. What are you talking about?
Yes, of course. It is a thriving and stimulating experience to be among the Dragonfly. You never know who's going to be around or not around at any moment.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, and the Dragonfly, like even when I'm in the Spelljammer like helm, I'm like, got the Dragonfly.
Yes. You alone with the ship.
Yeah, well, not alone because I'm with the ship.
Yes, a semi-sentient ship that can tap into your thoughts.
Yes.
But when you were young and flying around with your parents, were there, besides Doc, were there other youngsters, other children about?
Not like other kids, but I mean there were a lot of like people on the ship, and I used to just kind of attend, watch my mom and my dad like work and like learn from them and stuff, and they were really great. I like learned a ton of stuff, and sometimes they would go do things like on whatever world that they landed on, and yeah, they brought me with them sometimes, and sometimes I would like sneak after them.
You would sneak.
Yeah, because I was real curious, and sometimes they said they were doing really important stuff that could get dangerous, so they don't want me to come. But sometimes not often, but like sometimes I would seek out the ship just to check it out a little bit. I couldn't ever really look like myself either, because,
Oh, yes, of course. You wouldn't want to get caught and suffer the repercussions of your adolescent impudence.
Well, and also, like, some people don't really like changelings.
How so?
I don't know.
I apologize. This is not something I'm familiar with. This is a well-known phenomenon in the parts where you've traveled.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing. Some places, because I can look like this 1 second, and Lux like shifts into like a human woman with like long brown hair, and then I can look like this the next, and you wouldn't know. And she turns back.
I think pointedly a couple of halflings that are on the streets that are like moving around. I kind of imagine you guys like standing near like a bench almost. There's all these kind of raised terraces. The city of Copperport built on this hill overlooking this large lake that rolls out on itself a world of kind of rolling hills and twisting streams and rivers. Not a heavily forested place per se. And I think that, there are halflings like moving around, little contingents of soldiers kind of trotting down the street. Their armor jangling, immaculate, the kind of armor that soldiers who have never truly fought a battle wear, right? And I think that to the point, as Lux like says this and shifts wildly, I think you hear, this way, Midrin, this way. And like you see a couple of the halflings like turn like down a street away from you, kind of like avoiding passing where you sit.
Yeah, that's why.
Goodness. Well, I do not know what to say other than
you don't need to say anything. No, you don't need to apologize. I mean, gosh, you're never judgmental, and I felt really safe with you guys. Real.
I apologize. I interrupted you. I just simply am quite judgmental. I just do not always.
Yeah, but not of my ability to change my appearance. I mean, gosh. I felt safe enough to do so.
No. Why, if I could change my appearance, I would immediately. This is a bit much to carry around from time to time.
Not me, I think you hear the voice from right behind as the pair of you turn and you see the form of the red-scaled kobold, his tiny wings kind of fluttering as his feet like trail above the air. He's got his little blue vest on, the dagger given to him when he first joined you with the crew of the Spelljammer nicely on his hip. And floating beside him, of course, the spherical purple orb with the vertical cat slit of a pupil that was sent with him to ensure that he would be taken seriously when he returned back to the auction house, if we can recall. And so I think that you see as...
What was that decision?
I don't know, but it was a decision that got made. And so I think that you see as he comes fluttering down the road towards the group of you, carrying with him his little message bag, the scrolls and map cases kind of emerging as they will from it. New Old Ben art is in the house.
Oh, Old Ben and Seed.
Oh my god!
Oh,
and I think that as the orb floats next to him, he's like, I would certainly change myself if I could change my body. I mean, I am very, very old. And the fact of the matter is that if I could take a couple of years off the top, I mean, I've got a whole renewed sense of vigor about my life, and I'd love to savor it for a few extra years, but I'll make do with what I can get.
I'm sorry, what was that last sentence right there?
I'll make do with what I can get.
The one right before that.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
What? Oh, I just simply would say if you would like to shave years off your life, one should not go to the remnants of the library. There are creatures there that, if I remember correctly, do quite the opposite.
Oh, right. I remember about that, of course. I know well the trouble with ghosts. I mean, it's a real problem back on Cerelia, but anyway, Naya showed up. They're very worked up about that statue there.
Yes, Naya seems deeply concerned about the art acquisition in which they have spent all of our money. Lux, you remember the part where I said I'm not judgmental? Well, this might be an exception.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have bigger challenges here upon London than ghosts.
That's actually why I was very excited to hear back from you. Did you guys kill a dragon?
Yeah, yes, we did. Oh my gosh, it was so crazy, man. We killed a dragon in the shadow plane. It was a big green dragon, and then it went all shadowy and crazy. It was nuts.
It was a challenging tactical combat in which many people, most of all, Naya, showed incredible propensity to destroy evil and return home safely.
It was badass.
They were covered in a really profuse amount of blood when they came through the front door, so it was a little bit of a panicked moment there, but that sounds actually pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yes, we did suffer some setbacks in the vitality. However, we developed alliances, however unstable, with certain locals who well, I guess I should say the only reason we're standing here is because of Rosmita, and she's not here for me to thank, but I will remember her fondly.
I think that the shadowed orb, the eye, turning towards you, users, clearly, did you in fact confirm this was a shadow dragon?
So...
Well, it is what he's confirmed. It was large and had smoky,
changed a little bit.
Dark things came through.
I understand and recognize your mortal perceptions are intimidated by my outward presentation, but I must implore you, next time you travel to or from the shadow plane to engage with such entities, I can be of profound value.
Yes, well,
we do
have to
go back.
Oh. That was quite literally the opposite of what I was about to say.
I mean, of course we had to go back, right?
No, absolutely not. We've
been so what do you
we almost died. What? In what planet was we go back?
Reggie, of course we have to go back. Gosh, I was about to stay right then and there. There's so much that we have to do.
We only went in because we were aboard the back of a beast that decided to pull us through against our better effort. We almost died in there, were it not for this voluminous creature that then foisted upon the spoils of our battles. We have no reason and no capacity to go back to the Shadowfell and return safely.
No reason to go back. There's an army in there. They're gonna come streaming out.
And we are here. That's the point. Reggie, there is a veil of the plains.
The dragon. We can do something about this, and we have ask. Okay.
You think that's an asset in your argument?
Yes!
User correction. That is an asset. I can confirm.
Yeah. Listen, Reggie. Okay, I'm listening. Listen, there's so much to learn, and they're gonna attack this place again, and we need to be cutting the heads off of snakes here or dragons.
I know what you're doing.
What am
I
I
know-
doing?
I know what you're doing. You're
Hmm?
attempting to make a passionate argument and implore my ethos and pathos.
Just think of it, Reggie. Listen, we saved all those copper dragon eggs. Can you imagine you on top of a copper dragon tactically planning out an assault? How cool would that be if you led an assault on the shadow plane to kill the shadow dragons and the draconians that are gonna come try and hurt this planet? And gosh, space at large, we have no idea what's going on out there.
I certainly don't either, but I mean, I must say, Professor, it does sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is simply inane to imagine returning to that place. What?
Reggie.
Just simply what? Where would we go? What would we do?
I don't know. But listen, we also already know that the shadow plane is kind of this middle world, right? Where people can jump in and out to different other worlds.
Affirmative. That is part of my specialty. Amongst the accumulated knowledge I have to offer are points of egress to and from that realm. As you would know, Professor, there are a series of arcane formula utilized with frequency to manipulate the shadow plane as a means of transit through this prime material. It is literally my only function to accumulate this information.
Yes, well, of that much I must acquiesce. This is what one would call your wheelhouse, were we aboard a ship. So, much as it pains me to do, I shall ask, what is the possibility that the creature that we defeated there is native to that realm? What is the possibility that they were simply passing through?
Without visual assertion, it is hard for me to give you accurate analysis.
You see,
of this matter.
they are useless. This is a...
I can assuredly confirm if the dragon were to inhabit that realm for extended periods of time, centuries, as dragons count their lives, the very essence of that realm would infuse itself into the physical configuration of that creature. There are many recountings of entities who have mutated through time spent in those realms. The elves of the Shadowkai empires amongst them.
Ooh. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
I apologize. I'm getting a bit worked up, and it is. I apologize for stepping out of line ask and saying mean things.
I am devoid of emotion beyond my primary
Excellent.
function.
I have not hurt your feelings in the least. Then, let us move forward. You say that creatures left in the Shadowfell for an extended period of time would see themselves changed, and that it is possible that this dragon had adapted or mutated to its surroundings, and perhaps was
Assuredly.
attempting to do the same with the copper dragon eggs.
It's possible. Or it was a place to hide them in itself.
Yes. Which does remind me, I have here a large collection of gems that were recovered by the assistants who extracted primarily Rosmita from danger.
Smoky friends.
Smoky friends, yes. This is likely things that were stolen or taken by the dragon, offered to it. I apologize. I am quite unfamiliar with these creatures. Most of my studies are of quite straightforward tactical combats.
You haven't, like, Legends of Dragons and stuff?
Only the most terrifying stories when I was a child. But no, most of my childhood stories from my parents were either about the great artists of Kisandi, the early founders of my planet, and also, yes, occasionally war stories of the nearby Fulm.
Wait, okay. Listen. Alright, I know you're like a tactician and stuff. Like, really good at this whole war situation. Your parents were telling you these stories when you were a kid?
Well, yes, about the fire giants and from Fulm Turman. It's very terrifying. It's in fact, that was in part one of the reasons I was so interested in some of those objects. In that,
Right.
Yes, right. Well, we need not to revisit the past. Simply that, as a child, I did not have many play friends, and so the stories of adventure were my companions.
I think that the orb turns to you, Professor, like,
I can be your friend.
Hey, I'm his friend. Get out of here, ass. And it looks like
it's like floats away a little bit. And Ben's like, tough crowd, buddy.
Look, I do not mean to be mean. It is simply that ask can take it. They do not feel, well, really anything. They do have very strong ambition, though, for a creed. I'll save it. Lux, of the many things that we must deal with in the very, very short term, what do you find the most pressing?
Well,
There was somebody asking about you.
What?
Yeah, that Ferris the Wizard.
you saw him?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, where?
He had stopped by the auction house, and he said that he's staying at a nearby hostelry, and that he had somebody else with him and had heard you two had arrived. Not you two, but all of us, I guess.
Yeah.
And I count as part of the whole operation now, even. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
So we could go see Ferris.
Could do
And
that.
pretend that this whole dragon attack upon the city did not happen, or ask his opinion.
I think that, yeah, why don't we go say hi to a Ferris? We were waiting for Ginny to come back, I think, from the Sage.
Yes.
Which I imagine she might be there for a little
I am
while.
now simply dawning on me. I am dawning on me. It's happened before.
Mhm.
Goodness, had Jenny been there, that could have been very bad.
Yeah. I'm really glad that she wasn't there. By the way, what do you two like want to come with us, or do you want the ship?
Well, I mean, I'll go wherever you think I should. I just was keeping an eye on the statue and gonna get it sent back, but then there was that impending attack of shadow creatures, and Naya came running in covered in blood and said they had it taken care of, and you guys were down the street, so I thought I'd stretch my wings a bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to come with us. Ask. Listen, I don't. Again, like you got the no feelings thing, but I still don't want to be offensive. I really don't think you should be floating around this city.
Affirmative. I concur with your assessment. I have drawn a meaningful amount of attention next to the small kobold, but I was told to stay by his side.
And Ben was like, yeah, I was pretending he was my orb of destruction.
Well, that was kind of the, we did want people to stay away from you guys, so I guess that
An orb of destruction looks quite different, Ben. No offense. It's not something one would know without reading about it quite a bit. But...
I think the shadowy orb, like, turning back to Ben, like,
user query, may I have permission to enter your saddlebag?
And Ben's like, sure, buddy. Like, lifts the flap over and moves some scroll cases.
Oh, goodness.
I think the eye, like, turns back to you, looks like,
You need not be so paranoid.
as it, like, lowers itself down into the bag. And Ben, like, flips the flap over of the messenger bag. And I think you just hear the voice from inside, like,
Keep in mind, I can still hear you.
Yeah, we get it.
Yes. Well, to Ferris.
Yeah.
Perhaps the most wizened. I wonder if Ferris is ever called the wise. And yeah, never mind. Can't believe someone would make that mistake. On Earth. What is Earth? Anyway, away we go.
So the pair of you begin, like, kind of walking down this, like, street, like, moving through the plaza. There is, like, some damage to some of the city. The dragon had, like, attacked some buildings, right? Huge, like, rents in some of the walls. There is a good deal of, like, activity and commotion. You don't necessarily have a baseline for what life is like in Lun on a typical day after when it is not attacked by shadowy dragon creatures. But there is a good deal of action, halflings moving through the streets. There are some humans that you see as well, some elves, some half-elves, a dwarf or two. The predominant population are the small, barefoot, curly-haired fellows and ladies of the halfling community. And so I think that Ben, like, leading you down, like, this kind of, like, winding corridor, he's just like, yeah, I think that's it right there. And you can see there's, like, this staircase kind of leading up to almost a higher level. And this tall building that has these windows looking out kind of over the lake to the east. And so Ben, like, fluttering along in front of you is like, I recognized him from back in Hiroto, and was asking. I know we were looking for a ship, but he said that he's disembarked and has been staying here for a time with hope that you might show up. Apparently he's here with his friend Redalia, who he said had some interest in speaking with you.
She had interest in speaking to us?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
holy schmolies.
He said the crew of the Dragonfly, and he kind of said it like he didn't really include me amongst that, and I didn't take it too personally because who cares? I'm going to fly away from here to space when we're done, and he's not.
Yeah, you are a part of the Dragonfly crew, Ben. I will make sure to clarify that with him.
And so, yeah, go for it, Reg.
No, Reggie doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to say.
And so I think that, with that, like, Ben kind of leads you, like, floating up the stairs, up this, like, winding stairs. And as you come to the place, I think that there's a sign in front of it that says merely the Sunset Spire is the name of this inn, right? It looks to be a very fine place. It's a little ways from the port. You guys had been staying, like, very close to the port itself of Copperport, where there were all these kind of, like, large docks for the various kind of freighters and massive shuttles. The Dragonfly, notably much smaller than any of the other ships that kind of cross the stars here in the amongst the known worlds. walls, right? And so like leading you up towards the door, I think that like Ben like grabs the handle, his wings like fluttering as he like pulls it back, like wrenching against it, and the door kind of slowly opens. From inside, you can hear like cheering and kind of like laughter, celebration kind of ensuing, right? As Ben's like, wow, this place is really hopping for so early in the afternoon. All right, drinks on me. And I think that like as he like flutters into the door, the pair of you following, you can see there are a multitude of kind of, there's a long bar leading around like this curling wall, the place built like a tower, right? So we have these kind of rounded walls on all sides, and there are all these sort of like steps and like recesses. There's areas of the floor that are like recessed down, and others that have almost like steps. There's a whole kind of like almost shelf up against the bar that's got smaller stools with like halflings like piled against it. I think you're seeing halflings like cheering each other, like drinking, like 1,000 years since we've had a battle at the Copperport, and we win handily. As they're like knocking back brews, hunks of cheese and bread, the kind of aromas of many foodstuffs like filling the space. And I think you can see there's like a balcony up above you, like the exterior of this tower-like building with a balcony around it, and open in the center looking down into like this first floor, another one even still above that. And yeah, as the group of you come in, I think that you note there's an elven woman at the bar. She like is getting these two like glasses, these like kind of crystalline goblets that are filled with this sort of dim bluish liquid, right? And she like turns, wheeling around, and her eyes kind of connect with yours, like passing over the two of you, as the three of you, I should say, as you're making your way in the door, and her head kind of cocks, and we see this roll. She has these long braids in her kind of raven black hair. Her skin is very like dark and kind of rich, the color of the earth, and you see these long pointed ears trailing off of her, a sort of simple but like regal kind of gown about her, as her eyes like cock while they turn looking at you. And she's like, hello there. You are not locals.
What gave us away?
She kind of like smiles at you like, it's rare for Giff to come to the city, but
Giff-Q?
rarer still to see a Giff-Q.
Yes, well, we get many places you would not expect us to. Excuse me, my name is Professor Reginald Frybottom. These are my friends.
Of course. What do you look like right now, Lux? As she like turns looking at you, what does she see?
Yeah, I think Lux is like, she like shifted and then shifted back, but I think she is like at half health, so I think she's like probably like blood in her like white short white hair that's probably like absolutely crazy, like sticking off of her head, like blood like smeared on her face, on her arms, and yeah, she has her like this pale white skin that has these sort of she like has all these like tattoos all over the place of like these like constellations in her like white like bright eyes.
So you're very much like clearly in changeling form,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that after you offer the name Professor, like, I'm Professor Reginald Frybottom, these are my friends, this woman turns looking at you like, you must be the pilot.
I think Lux is like like frozen. Like I think like she has no idea what to do. And it's just like standing there like, Yeah, just not saying a single thing. Like for
She,
like
like-
the first time in a long time.
She shifts one of the goblets to like her left hand, so she's kind of like holding both in one hand as she comes like striding forward to you, and her arm extends like long and kind of thin. She's probably taller than both of you. She stands rather tall, like 6'4", this kind of cascade of black braids falling down around her shoulder, this purple and sort of orange gown, and she like extends a hand and is like, I think perhaps you are exactly the people I've been waiting here so very long to see. I am a friend of your friend, Redalia. Perhaps a friend of more than one.
You are a friend of Redalia?
I think she like gestures with the wide glasses or whatever and is like, please forgive me, I'm celebrating with the locals, if my words are unclear. I am a friend of Yavanna. My name is Redalia. And a Forest the Wizened is just up there waiting for me at my table.
Oh jeez. I'm I'm really sorry. I'm Lux. Yeah, you're right. I am the pilot. Gosh, I'm really sorry. I'm a mess. We just killed a dragon
Yes.
and stuff.
I know you did.
Yeah.
I saw a few of you on the back of the Bright Wolf surging for that rent in the sky.
I would very much like to do an insight check right now.
Sure, yeah, roll an insight check. What are you
I would
trying
like
to
be,
read
yeah,
here?
I would
What's
like
the
to be. I think the question in Reginald's mind is, this person mentioned Yavanna. How much do they know?
Ooh.
I think he's trying to ascertain, like, not are they lying as much as just like, is there? Yeah, I think it's like, is this a
Okay.
put on or is the well deep here?
Okay, go for it. First roll of the night, insight check.
Oh,
First
boy.
roll of
How do
July.
I D&D? How do I D&D? I was
I
like, where's
don't like D&D.
That
pit stains? I don't care.
Let's
I'm
fucking
so
go.
me too. It's fun.
Let's
It's hot,
go.
man. It's really
Let's
gross
go.
out tonight. It's really hot.
Let's go.
Reggie, you are eyeing this woman. And like you know, Lux is kind of like talking to her, and she's like smirking. Lux is like, "Yeah, I am Lux," and she's like, "I know." And I think that you're like, "Oh gosh!" Like she made you guys the second that you walked in the door. She knew exactly who you are before you said your name. And she is kind of curiously, almost as Lux is like kind of babbling on, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Blah, blah, blah. She's like looking past you. Her eyes are scanning the windows leading out to the street to see like, where is the rest of your crew? Where are your friends? She noted that she watched the handful of you like fly off on the back of the dragon, which like, that's like interesting. So I think you get an impression like there's a there. Like she knows more maybe than you're comfortable with her knowing. She might know more than you know.
I think quite quickly Reggie assumes as much.
And so I think that she's like, please, you all look very weary after, well, dragon slaying. And I think that she turns and like clinks the glass for a second. She has rings on one of her hands that she like clinks against the side of the glass. And she's like, patrons of Despire, you know me. I am Redalia, the Bard of the Blossoms here. I have sung for you many nights, told you my tales. But I ask you now, take silence for a moment. Look beside me and raise your glasses, not to me, but to these two. Heroes.
Also, Ben, I
And I think she,
apologize.
like-
It was an important speech. It's just
I think she like steps out of the way. The kobold's little like wings fluttering, and he's like, "Me?" She's just like, "These are two of the crew of the Dragonfly, the heroes of this day. Did you see as they flew on the back of your bright wing into the hole of darkness in the sky? They have slain the enemy who struck at the heart of your beautiful city. Look, they wear his blood still on their clothes. Legends have come to your watering hole, my friends." And I think there's like silence for a moment as they're all kind of like, and like you hear like the soft clapping begin from the back. Then it begins to like build a little bit, and there's a little bit of like, ah! And what I think you hear like some voices and some chatter in the crowd's like, I saw them. Where's the one with the hair? But what about the one with the sword? I saw the ship in the hummingbird. I've never seen anything like that. And I think that like suddenly there's this murmur of conversation filling the space of the room amidst the like slow rising applause, while these like tiny little halflings stand up out of their chairs, you know. And I think you do note a pair of elves like sitting in one of the chairs in the back, like eyeing you. And they're not standing, but they're like clapping like softly, like watching you. And she's like, "Drinks, please, for my friends." And she's like, "Give me the bottle and the glasses." And you see the barkeeper like sliding bottle and the glasses over. And she's like, "Was that too much?"
Thank you. Yeah. Wow.
yes. We are not used to being the center of attention.
I know. Perhaps that's something that will have to change in the months to come, huh?
Well,
Do you have a table like somewhere so we understand,
Yes.
like in the
She's
middle
like,
of everybody?
she's like gathering up glasses, like very deftly, right? Her fingers moving with this kind of like nimble agility as she's like holding this like kind of handful of glasses, two of them full. And I think that she like turns to like you, Lux, like, "If you would," and she kind of like hands you the bottle to carry, like, "Please follow me." And she begins to like ascend this spiral staircase.
And I think
in front of you. Yeah.
as she just gets a few steps away and starts to ascend, I think like Reg just very quickly like big eyes over at Lux. And it's just like, word travels quickly.
Yeah, gee, I guess so.
I had heard some stories that one of the birds of the blossoms was telling tales about us, but I didn't expect to actually be in the room when it happens. That's a little bit awkward.
I know.
Yes, well, let's go to the other room where it happens and see what happens there.
And so I think that you like hear the kind of clicking of heels as her footfalls like touch down on the stone steps rising up as you walk through this kind of spiraling stairs of the tower up past the kind of second balcony to the third one. You see that there's all this kind of like ornamentation on the walls of like copper, these kind of like lines woven into each other, some like brass work as well, some of it old, these like almost like portholes, these like big circular windows that almost harken to the Dragonfly itself in the body of the ship. And so as you ascend, you're getting this kind of rotating view around the tower of the city from all these different angles. And as she emerges up on this top balcony, a circular sort of thing open down into the middle, the light like streams through the kind of many windows, and you note Afaris as he like recognizes you, as he sees you kind of following her up. She's like, "I have found your old associates. It seems they are here after all." And she's like, "You two have met. 4. I'm sorry."
Hello.
Briefly.
Yeah.
And I think a forest rising is like bows just slightly like, well met. I'm very glad to see that, well, you're all alive. Your little friend told me you went chasing the dragon.
Yeah, gosh. We like came here looking for you, and when we landed, things went real sideways real quick.
It appears to be a pattern. We are delighted to see you and find ourselves in a safe place. Our friends are still aboard the Dragonfly, I believe, attempting to assess the damage that was done in the initial incursion and awaiting the return of Penolodrine. But we were sent here to find you and communicate that we are here and more or less intact after the combat.
I'm glad that you're all well. I have been waiting for time. I've departed from my obligations to the Princess of the Night. Seems we may be entering a new chapter of things, and I thought I might be of more use. She like kind of glances at Redalia, and she's like, yes, your friends, they have flown to find the dragons on the far side of the realm. I understand it has been eventful since your arrival. I hear word of one of the great and ancient primordials whom escorted you to Copperport.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Ancient primordial. Oh, the tortoise, yes.
I believe your friend might say, praise Clancy.
Oh,
Yeah.
do. It's almost as if she's here. Apologies, we did not get to spend too much time with you on Huiroto. You are not based here, but you are. What is it you're doing here exactly?
Afaris is like, he looks at Redalia, and she's like, and kind of hands him a glass, and she starts like pouring for the rest of you. And so he's like, I'm hoping I might put my efforts to better use than serving as a diplomat and advisor to those whom would profit, those whom do not aspire to change anything for the better. In truth, I am trying to help her a little more than that. She's quite persuasive. And I think Redalia, like, kind of like shrugs a little bit as she's like sliding out this sort of like dim blue liquid in these kind of goblets towards each of you. And she's like, he has been very helpful. Believe it or not, he's quite wizened.
Yeah, I heard. Listen, I don't mean to like be blunt or anything, but like, can we like?
Please do.
Think Lux like looks around at like their like environment. Like, can we like talk here?
She like glances around. There's a couple of other people up here like scattered sitting by windows, but like she just kind of like, you are wise. I see how you got the job. And I think that you see her, she's got a ring on one hand that has, it's silver. And as you like look at it, I think that you could see it's got almost like notes carved into it. I don't know if you could like track music, but you got pretty keen perception, Lux, as you glance down. And I think she like slides it kind of carefully around her index finger with her thumb. And very like kind of gently like moves her hand in a way that I think like Professor, certainly you could recognize like the arcane kind of manipulation within her digits. as suddenly, like, the sound coming up from down beneath you through the corridors, the kind of chatter of the people on the table at the far side of the balcony, all cuts away. And she says, we are unhurt now.
Whoa.
Clever old thing. It's been very useful for me through the years. But we can speak very candidly.
Gosh, you're a real, like, Bard of the Blossoms, huh? Ooh, okay.
Much to some people's chagrin, I am. Yes.
Wow. A dragon and a Bard of the Blossoms all in one day.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Well, please allow me to step in. I have many questions. Let me start with them in no particular order. Do you know anything about why those creatures came through this opening and what they were seeking?
No is a strong word in this context. I have some suspicions and some theories, but I would hesitate to use the word no, as it implies a certainty that I cannot assure you of.
That is to be respected. What have you heard?
This Korochan, whom you found on the far side of the world, what did he tell you? How did you wake him?
So, no, yeah, go ahead, Reg.
No, I just simply would observe that it appears that we have asked a question and received no answer, and you have now asked two.
That is a very fair point, Professor.
And
What
if one
I
is to exchange information, it should be an equal exchange.
What I suspect is that these creatures are the remnants of a green worm who fought against the powers that established this world as it was. I
Is
believe
this the I think like Reg turns over to Lux, and the one that Ian was discussing earlier.
Melissa Strand.
that is an important name. Ian?
Zeus. Zuzillian?
Zazucilian? Zimbaphilian.
There's
Do
a
not know
little
this name.
fairy dragon, like not that big.
Oh.
And he talks like, hey, do you want to go? Where you at, my friend?
That sounds very odd. I do not know him.
No, it was more like, I've been sleeping for 5,000 years. Where am I supposed to be?
I think a forest is straight up like, he's like leaning back in his chair laughing as Redalia is like, I do not know, Ian. No. Nor do I know much of the Listrastrand save what has been recorded. But I will tell you this. What I have gathered in my travels is that she was one of a council of worms,
The
dragons.
Synod?
The very same.
Yeah, the dragon we fought, he said his name was Raxus, and he was yelling while we were fighting about like stopping or that the Synod can't be allowed to regain their footing and that they needed to continue with their plans.
Can I ask Rich?
Yeah.
If I can have like maybe the aura of my insight check, just specifically, Reg is very interested in how interested the two of them are in that information. Like, I think he wants to keep an eye to see how it lands, if I can.
Yeah. She is like, as soon as Lux says the name, she like looks to Afaris, and Afaris like, he kind of like shrugs, but they're very interested. They're like deeply engaged in like what you guys are saying, right? I think like she leans forward a little bit and is like, this is a fascinating turn of events. I can tell you this, there is no synod anymore. The glimmering synod is a myth, a legend to some, dream, an idea to others. But whatever they did once long ago, while Valistran still lived, they do not, for they are no longer.
But it seems like something is happening where they're trying to regain their footing in this. I mean,
Or perhaps it was a story that one tells themselves to justify things.
I will tell you this. The being whom your friends freed, who sits now outside this odd city of Kappa, Korochan, he has been there for a long time. You do not travel on a world as small as Loon without knowing where strange swords emerge from rocks in lakes. The drawing of that blade was no small thing, and I believe that his awakening would have alerted whomever trapped him there, which likely is this worm Raxus whom you slayed today. These things all are very important in certain ways.
Can we just back up here for a second?
Please.
Oh, am I too close? I could.
No, not physically, Reg. You're fine. You said you knew Yavanna.
Oh, yes.
Just yeah. What's happening here?
She turns to you, Professor, like waiting, before she starts.
I believe that what my friend is asking is, why the fuck is it the case that every time we land on a planet, things go tits up, and we meet people who appear to know our patron, and we know very little about...
Let me ask you a question. You are a tactician, is that right?
It feels less and less like it every day.
Well, I will posit this query to you. If you had to, amongst a group, a world, a galaxy full of strangers, find those to change what must be changed.
Yeah.
But you had to ensure their spirit, their motivation is aligned with yours. Might you test them? You take many tests on Cassandre, do you not?
Yes.
And not all of them are with the paper and the little bubbles.
A proving ground.
Yavanna has aspirations to rebuild what was torn down in the Ancient of Days. She has spent her time collecting lost things, forgotten things, preserved things, overlooked. She recreated your very ship. And she is responsible for many people on Homeworld. If she were to gallivant off for adventure, there would be many who look to take her place with less altruistic intentions. Her position is strong and yet still precarious. And so she found you all through her ways, and she sent you out into the stars on your relic, on your ancient treasure. And so she has watched.
So, Reggie, I was just thinking about. Remember the last time that Yavanna talked to us? And she showed up real weird. Remember that?
How could I forget?
Well, she did say that she was friends with one of the bards and that she was going to send word.
That is me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And she said that the universe is in the autumn of its life and that we're approaching winter. Listen, I can't help but there's all this stuff about this glimmering synod and these prophecies of the spheres and...
Yes, I do not know the prophecy. There are none who do. But it was delivered to Valistrastrand by a gnomish girl, a seer, from here, this very world. Valistrastrand was one of the synod. I have theories and ideas. And I think a forest pipes in at this point. I have traveled extensively in my years. I've spoken to many sorts, to greedy merchants, to fearsome mercenary captains, to slaves and slavers, to all manner of good and terrible people. And I have gathered bits and pieces as I can. I have told Redalia what I believe. I think that the gnomes did not die off here. I don't think it was some terrible cataclysm or a battle with the goblins. I think they were sent away. I think the prophecy was delivered to this ancient dragon who sat on a council that tried to steer the course of events, and I think she sent the gnomes to do something. I can't be sure, but the moon of this world, I don't know if you saw it when you approached. There are strange constructions there that none truly understand. They are gnomish in design, like this entire city is gnomish in design. You could not possibly know this yet, but the very world itself beneath our feet here in Lund has been mined until it is little more than a maze of wormholes twisting through itself. This planet is nearly a hollow thing, empty in the center. The gnomes pulled every last ounce of this metal which is so precious to them from the earth. And I believe that they were sent. I believe that the key to the prophecy is on the moon.
Well, there's a few things. When we landed here, we were sort of flying over looking for the city, and we saw this woman running through the woods, her horse being attacked by wyverns, and she was looking for the ruins of Strand. And so we helped her and went there and defeated this really nasty abomination of dragon flesh thing. It was really, really, really disgusting. So Ginny, what was her name?
Yes, I met her. She is quite an impressive little halfling. She now rouses the sage, which is no small thing to be done.
Oh, she's very eager, which I get that. But gosh, there's just so many questions. This she mentioned so many things. This astromancy archive and the
I don't. Of all the questions one could ask, I'm not certain that is the most important. Lux.
No, I know. There's the dwindling that there was something Strand and the records, and it's all one thing. So,
is it though? Will you attempt to stitch together as if wormholes under the surface of the planet an intricate network of theories, but it is also possible that there are many separate events that have built one atop the other upon this planet, and it appears it's moon that tell a story.
That is almost assuredly true. You are as clever as your reputation suggests, Professor, but the dwindling was the diminishing of the dragons. Copper dragons have been tied to this place since as long as it has been. The records are lost. There is so much we do not know. We would have answers to many of the questions. We would know what events are layered upon what happened first, what most recently. There were but 14 of the worms here before today. I do not know how many will return home with Bernardine. I hope that they all do, but it has been a very long time since any have hatched. The eggs, many would die. Many simply sit inert. Others were taken, vanished, destroyed. The records, I believe, from what my associate has said, she gestures to Afaris, may have been sent with the gnomes if he is right. And that is why there is such a void of the truth here. Halflings, not to denigrate my small friends, are not so far-minded. They are concerned with the here and the now, with their family and their homes. Their presence here was smaller in the early days, but as years passed and their population expanded, they began to take over these ancient, empty places. They made the city live again after it was a ghost town.
With all due respect to someone as knowledgeable as you, I think it is important to remember that the ability to think beyond oneself is a privilege afforded to those of us whose needs are met. And if the citizens of Copperport, the halflings among them, are not particularly attuned to the existential crises that bear upon this planet, it is perhaps because they are simply living their lives as best they can and are in great need.
It is a well put point. I do not harbor any negative feelings towards them for not recounting the history of 4,000 years past. One's life is a fleeting thing. How we focus our time is not always easy to discern. I merely mean to say that much that was once known has been lost. I am piecing together the bits that I can find. Our friend here has helped me make some connections. I hope you can help me make others.
If I understand correctly, what you're saying is that information that might help us reverse the dissolution of the protective copper worms on this planet might be found among the remnants of the gnomish structures on the moon?
I believe so, yes. There are strange things there. Occasionally, the dragons are sent, though I will be quite frank with you, I believe that most often they take the trip for little more than bragging rights. I do not think they have very much clarity of what mechanisms and devices operate in that place. But I can tell you, your patron, Yavanna, is a good soul. She wishes to see what I wish, which is why your friend has decided to stay and help me. We would form again what was broken. If such creatures as lurk in the plane of shadows corrupting the eggs of dragons from this world fear a glittering synod, then I would make them quake in terror. I would bring this thing back or create it anew to serve the will of those whose judgment I trust. You asked me a question I have not answered. Why every planet do you land on? Do you leave such a wake behind you? I cannot be sure of that. I do not believe any of us can. But I do believe that some things are beyond us. I believe in destiny. That is for you to determine for your own selves, though.
Well, that's what Crochan said too. Said that our coming set in motion fate that will change the world.
Yes,
Perhaps.
but whose world? Which world?
Well, you sure changed mine. I think Ben, very quietly pipes up.
Listen, Reggie, we've changed every world that we've landed on.
This
I
is
don't mean to
precisely
sound.
my point. We first, correct me if I'm wrong, Lux, but my understanding of our purpose for coming here was precisely this moment, was to connect with the forest, to connect with a bard of the blossom, so
Yeah.
that they might carry forward our story and percolate it, promote it throughout the sphere. But yet, this moment is, I apologize, it is a bit upsetting that by our very coming here, we have yet again caused a wake.
Is that something you don't want to do, Reggie? I mean,
One does not move through life in the way that I am without leaving behind them a certain wake. But it is quite different when you remove a sword from a stone and awaken a primordial beast and a rift to the Shadowfell.
Your friend whom drew the blade freed a creature tasked with protecting our world. I don't know the prophecy of Alistrand, but I know well the tales of the primordials. There were some worlds that they guarded as a shepherd guards a flock, perhaps. These were the places, I believe, that the Synod held their roots, reached their power. This Korochan, I believe that freeing of such a creature from the torpor that evil had laid him in is a thing of unambiguous good, regardless of the unexpected fallout.
yeah, I would agree. And I mean, that, like, I don't know if it was that green worm, but dragon put it there. A green dragon put it there.
You saw the defense of the city. These creatures have marshaled an army and were to be a battle fought on a day that you are not here. It might have ended very differently. The folk of this place might not celebrate in their cups tonight.
I guess all right. I just simply answer one question. If we were to leave Lund today, get back aboard our ship, and go somewhere else, did we leave this place better than we found it?
Gosh, I think
She's
so,
looking at you.
Reggie. You don't think we have?
Someone wise, perhaps wizened, I do not know, once said that no is a very difficult word.
It is, but gosh, Reg, the first thing that we did here was save Jenny.
Some part of me just feels that we have stirred up something, and perhaps we have a responsibility to see that it is settled.
I will tell you this. I think a forest chimes in. I have been to Lund before. It is a beautiful world, idyllic, peaceful. These people have slept in a comforting dream for a very long time, but I believe that beneath their bed danger lurks, and that you have awakened at least some of those who call this place home to the truth of that. Whether it's better, I would not be so bold as to declare, but in my experience as a wizened sort, it is always better to know the truth of a thing than to exist in the bliss of ignorance. I think Reya tilts back this goblet, drinking this kind of blue crystalline liquid from it, and she's like, I know that this is all a lot for you. I know I do not have all the answers that you might need. I also know that you seem very battered, covered in blood, and worn out.
I could go for a rest, yes. And another drink.
She says, the drink I can help you with. And I think she pours the bottle, twisting it, this kind of blue liquid, filling into the goblet. And then I think she gestures to a window. You guys are sitting near this big window, kind of on the eastern side of the city, this lake sprawling out next to it. And I think she gestures across the balcony. And you see a shadow sweep in front of the window as the city stretches out on the other side. And then you see the small form that is the dragonfly kind of carving its way back down through the sky out of the blue from behind. And I think that you see following it in the wings, the bat-like kind of coppery wings of some dragons following it. And she says, it seems that your friends and the city's protectors have returned. I am happy to speak more with you. I have waited here for some time, hoping for your arrival. I'm sure you have much to discuss with your friends, though, and I do not want you to feel put upon. If you wish to rest and regroup, I am not going anywhere anytime soon.
You say that, but I cannot help but ask one more question, just in case. There are others like you, yes? Other bards of the blossom?
There are 2 others, yes. It is a title of some honor, as it were. I, formerly, am the Bard of Lore.
I see. And your companions, your other bards?
They, well, they are not the Bards of Lore. I think she says, I do not know if you know the story of the elves, Professor. The kingdom of snapdragons was without a home. They stumbled through the stars, hunted by those of the shadows, those who took the engine built by Ziri in the first days and corrupted it to feed on the very essence of what makes elves elves. It was the halflings of Lund who gave them a home. The kingdom of snapdragons is here, and not here as well. While you have been to a realm of shadows, there is a realm of life unchecked. The Arcadian realm, the realm of the Fae. That is where our people are for most of their days. I can tell you this, the Council of Copperport has been called. The Duke of Snapdragons will come, along with all of the governors of the outer territories, to discuss how Lund will respond to what has transpired. I do not expect to see my peers here, nor do I expect the Duke to be pleased to see me. My interests are broader than one kingdom or one world. Your patron, Yavanna, has planted a seed in my mind that I have allowed to blossom itself. if I may use such a phrase. And I hope for better things, bigger things, for all of us.
Yes. Well, Lux, is there anything else you wish to know before we step back aboard that relic of a ship?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, so many things, but, maybe I'll, save some of the questions and wait for Ginny to come back.
Goodness. That will be a conversation, to say the least. Right then. Well, we thank you for your hospitality.
Please, I thank you for Malperi Prime and Cerelia and the Aether Station and even the Gauntlet. For a little bee told me that you spent some time there before you landed. I think that regardless of where our paths take us, I owe you my gratitude.
Goodness.
Jeez.
I will not keep you longer than you must.
No,
Oh.
I just one last thing. I apologize. I'm quite bad at ending things. I just one of our hopes upon meeting you would be that you could carry forward the story of the Dragonfly and its crew, and the goodwill that we should hope to bring to the worlds. And hope. Goodness, we would like to bring hope. When you speak of us, should you, please also include Ben in the story. It is very important to us that all of our crew is included.
I think she looks down and Ben's just like got the glass opening. I think you see his little like kobold tongue is like slurping the bottom of like the clear, and he's like, me?
Ben,
Yeah.
manners.
He is
Sorry,
the
this stuff is
glue.
very strong. He like, puts the cup down. And I think that Redalia at this point stands and like I think she does like a very sort of like ostentatious formal bow before Ben as he like sits at the table. And she says, Master Kobold, if I have given you any offense in my lack of inclusion, I apologize. I know less of you than those who flew off homeworld on the first flight of this ship which you call home. But I will be assured to account for you in all my tellings of the dragonflies who will change the sphere. And I think he's just like, by the twin birds of Cerelia, and like looks back at you. Yeah. Is that where we leave our adventurers today? As it fades to black, the like pair of you like sliding your chairs out, like parting in different directions. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Does that feel like a reasonable conclusion?
I'm trying to decide if I want to say something. It'll wait. It'll wait.
Okay.
Okay.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I think.
It won't wait.
Yeah,
It
let's
won't
do it.
wait.
Postscript.
Let's
Just
do it.
like a slight moment,
Mhm.
walking down the stairs,
Mm-hmm.
heading back down.
Mm-hmm.
I think Reginald will turn to Lux and just say, like in kind of like a not very quiet, but in a quiet voice, did she say dragonflies?
Did she?
Eh,
See. That was really good, you guys. That was super fun. Cool. That was fun. Questions beget questions beget questions.
I want to talk to the sage. Taylor wants to talk to the sage.
Well, noted.
Oh my gosh, I have so many questions.
Homeboy's a deep sleeper.
Well,
Ginny's
let
got her work
me
cut
get
out for
Lux in there.
Yeah, I don't know if that created more clarity or less, but it was very fun for me. So thank you for that.
Both.
This is a blast. This
This
is a
was
blast.
so great. Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
I'm so hype about the old Ben art. I just
Oh.
want to, like, before I overlook it, like, should I do
Absolutely.
something dumb like that? Thank the good man Sean Yannell, who has created such a magnificent interpretation of Ben and Seed and Ask. That's the
So
good stuff right
good.
there. This I've been like waiting a month to unveil to you, and it is delightful. And I want to thank you guys for showing up and hanging out tonight. This was very, very, very cool.
Is that a little mouth in the middle of C?
Is it?
Ew.
I don't know. Is it, Taylor?
Oh no. Oh my god, it totally is. Oh, it's like smiling real creepy too. Oh my god.
Taylor, I swear to God, the degree to which Reginald puckered up when you said Astromancy Archive is unreal. Like, he was like, don't you dare. Like, I could not, we did not have a moment for me to say this to Lux, but like, I think it's quite clear. Based on that insight check, Reginald spent the remainder of that episode trying his best to play chess and like losing every step of the way. I mean, I don't know that he actually was, but like there's this notion for the people who are sticking around with us. I will just read something on my character sheet.
Oh yeah, great.
Ooh.
Which is ideals for Reginald from the very beginning when I created him. Learn as much as you can and use it for good. Know who has the upper hand always.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he knew who had the upper hand. And it just cast a shadow over everything in that conversation.
Cool. I love it.
Amazing.
That's a great ideal. Josh Allison is somebody I did a couple of DM roundtables with some of the Sabotage guys back like last summer, early spring. I think you might be able to catch those on their YouTube channel. But he and I were recently talking, and he was talking about the knife block. This kind of like all the knives that the players give you and the stuff on the sheet that you're able to kind of draw out and like use as these weapons to like cut, to sever, or like all of it. Yeah, and there's good stuff in the knife block with you guys. You guys have given me like a lot of good stuff to work on. Yeah, I hope that felt like you have like a little bit of like clarity on some of this stuff now. And that was, I mean, look, it's always like, it's a D&D adventure. It's always going to lead into more questions and more mystery, right?
Lore means more.
Delightful.
Yeah, lore does mean more. This was very fun for just the two of us. And I just can't thank you guys enough for rallying up for our return. Episode 13. Yep. The mini I wish that I were a fraction as competent as Sean is talented with art, because I have these visions of Copperport and what it looks like, and I don't know if I'm carrying any of that over. But yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, give yourself some credit. One of my favorite things is like sit and listen to that like description whenever we hit a new place.
Sure.
It's good.
It was great.
Like you could.
And thanks for letting us roll with two of us. I know it's always a question mark when we don't have a full crew, but I think to part the veil a little bit, like you're really good about checking in with us and just making sure like, hey, are you cool running two of you? Is that too much of a spotlight on you? And I think both of us were in a good spot where we were like, yeah, no, we want to run with it. And thanks for like creating space for episodes and adventures like this.
I appreciate it. This is a very like kind of high concept show in certain ways. There's a lot of our friends that get to play here, and we had a big cast initially conceptualized as like, okay, we'll have a floating kind of crew. It will be very much the spaceship of like who's getting featured this week on this episode, right? And as I am inclined to do in my own taste, rather than a bunch of like kind of monster of the week episodic adventures, like we have these arcs, we have these chapters that kind of like play out, and it can be a little bit of a game within a game to orient the like, gosh, how do we get, why is such and such not here or such and such is here, and like making that all work. But it's such a treat, and I really always appreciate all of us. This is a game like I always look forward to playing when we are scheduled. So it's been a delight. Yeah. Parting thoughts? Any like final notes here for our friends that may be watching the VODs, catching up afterwards?
Wait to see what happens next.
I guess so. Troy, what do you got going on in the world? Is there anywhere you want people to be paying attention or keeping their eye
I got
out?
a thing to promote. I'm gonna talk about a podcast I'm doing. If you are watching Only Murders in the Building season 2 on Hulu, and you should be, because it's really good. Season 1 was a delightful little music box of a series, and season 2 I think is just taken it and like raised it to a new level. I am podcasting about that on the post-show recaps network. We also have our own feed just for Only Murders in the Building. I'm doing this with Josh Wiggler, Papa Wiggler himself. We have a rotating cast of additional suspects who come into our podcast, including Grace last week. So we just recorded episode 5 with Josh, and it's a delight. It's super fun. If you want to like medium brain a mystery show where we explore every possibility, including the absurd theories, Only Murders in the Building on post-show recaps. Other than that, you can follow me on Twitter at DJ LaBelle Klein. That's probably where you'll get the most fun stuff from me. And then here on Dragonfly on many Tuesday nights.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I knew you were covering it. I had never seen the show, and then I was like, oh my god, is this Steve Martin and Martin Short? How am I not watching this show, dude? Like, Steve Martin is like, oh dude, so like close to my heart. And like I meme often that like I don't watch comedies, I only watch dark brooding things that make me hurt inside. But like, god, Steve Martin I love so much, man. I think I need this in my life, so I'm looking forward to like jumping on that train late and getting caught up. But good stuff. Taylor, how about you? Anything going on in the world you want to like hype up or bring our attention to? We should just be thinking about as we're living our lives the next week here.
Gosh, nothing super specific except for like, be like cool and nice to each other and all that good stuff.
Be cool, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Be cool. Be nice. It was always a delight to have you here, my friend. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. You guys should follow me here if anybody's finding this. If anybody's looking for the backlog of this stuff, it's on YouTube. Everything is there, including the final episode of season 1, which was missing for a minute. And I didn't realize, oh my God. It's all there now. You can catch Humble Yore over there where we play the Humblewood D&D kind of Kickstarter campaign. It's very fun stuff.
The cutest show on Twitch.
Guest. It is the cutest show on Twitch. And we will be back this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here where we're doing Threads in the Pattern episode 5, our Wheel of Time tabletop role-playing game. It is wild. We're basically playing 3rd edition D&D, but like with a real specific rule set. And gosh, it's a good time. So I've been like beating the heck out of the players over there and making them like really run a tough gambit. But they're about to potentially come to civilization and meet a bunch of NPCs. So it might be something akin to the kind of episode we got tonight with a lot of talking and a lot of lore, which could be very exciting.
And maybe I'll remake my axe, which would be really dope.
That'll be important. I did destroy Taylor's prized possession.
You did not destroy it. We just left it.
Yeah, I guess it got left behind. Yeah. Fair enough. It's a good time. Thank you everybody for hanging out here tonight with us. I saw a bunch of our friends hanging out. I appreciate you guys. And I think, yeah, that's it. This is the part where I go, okay, bye.
Bye.